right, so every time we think it's over, it's just not over. Every time you think that Jigsaw or John is gone, he's not, no matter what happens. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We'll find out here shortly, but let's see what IMDb has to say about this one. A sick and desperate John travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable, bad people. Yeah, sucks for those people, and they're gonna get what they deserve. Maybe we'll get into that too. So, I lots to talk about here in this one, and this is obviously new, and I'm sure plenty of people have already seen this. I think the DVD is coming out soon, and so forth. I always like to try to tell you guys that I'm going to keep this spoiler free, but I think this is one of these times where I'm opening it up. There's something that I kind of want to discuss. Lots going on in this movie, and especially towards the end. And this is Saw. There's always a little bit of a twist and turn here and there, especially towards the end. So, really to kind of talk freely about kind of what happens towards the end. I can't keep it spoiler free, so I'm sorry. Hopefully you've already seen this, and hopefully I don't. I'm gonna try not to completely give it away, but yeah, lots of stuff is to be said in this movie. So I'm not gonna promise being completely spoiler free this time. So I'm sorry about that. I try, but again, lots to talk about before I even get into this movie. Just the fact that we're here at Saw X. It is kind of hard to wrap your mind around. When you think about Saw and the whole franchise, I will put it out there. I'm a fan of Saw. Obviously, this is my kind of horror, blood and guts. You guys know that I love it. So, how could I not like the Saws? Obviously, some are better than the others. Some, had good twists. Some didn't. Maybe some were worth it, some are not, blah, blah. Everybody has their feelings about all. I mean, there's so many of them. You can have all kinds of feelings about which ones you like, didn't like. Obviously, the first one had probably one of the biggest twists ever, and I still slap myself for not seeing it coming. They recently did another Saw, so you almost kind of feel weird that they did that, and then they did this. Like, what the hell is going on here with this franchise? You thought that they were going to do another one, a sequel off that, and then this one appears, and then are they going to do more with this? Are they going to go? What is happening here? So confused. It really, I don't know what is happening, and it's even more confusing because the man who started it all is dead. Like, he died early in the franchise, and is still yet and it's not like a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael who just keeps coming back. This is a normal human being who's dead, but they still managed to drag him through all these movies somehow, some way. So I don't know. It's just crazy to wrap your head around everything. But long and behold, we're here, and this movie is supposedly taking place between the original part 1 and part 2. And then leading up to this movie, I read, them talking about, well, this is, as they were trying to, I guess, hype the movie, this is really the real sequel, and that should have been, and blah, blah. And I hate when they do that, and, they kind of try to do that with Halloween and so forth, to try to, like, wipe out, other movies, or stick this movie in between other movies. They try to do that with other things. And I really dislike when they do that. Like, you're, to me, you're dishonoring the franchise. I know you're trying to honor the franchise by bringing Tobin back, and bringing Amanda back, and doing all these things, but to me, you're also dishonoring when you tell me that, no, we're wiping out the other sequel, and this is the truth. No, don't, just don't do that, and don't ignore what already happened. It really annoys me, because as a horror fan, when you watch this stuff, especially if you're a fan of it and you like it, and you like other sequels, you don't want someone to come along and tell you, hey, don't like that didn't happen, or ignore that, and so forth. No, I especially, maybe Saw doesn't go far back for enough some people, but like when they did this recent Halloween thing, and they're like, oh no, we're gonna ignore most of this other stuff, and we're just gonna base this off the original movie and move forward. No, don't tell me to ignore all the other Halloweens that I've spent my time watching and liking and hating and complaining about and liking this death and blah. No, don't tell me to ignore all that, and you shouldn't ignore it either. What is your problem? Anyway, let's reel it back a little bit here. Yeah, so all kinds of confusing stuff, but they call this the supposed sequel or whatever, or at least in between 1 and 2. So, it's Saw X, or you can call it Saw 1.5, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's just basically an excuse to do it. When they killed off Jigsaw, I said, that's a huge regret, and they're going to make a mistake there, and just make more things complicated for them. And this is just one of those times where you have to go all the way back here to make a movie in between part 1 and 2, basically, to include him. So that's what you get for doing that. But anyway, it is where we are. So we obviously know what happened. We know that he has cancer. We know he's trying to get cured, and we know he takes issue with lots of people. So here he kind of stumbles upon a group that supposedly can cure the cancer that he has. After we know that he's been told he's doomed, like there's not going to cure what he has, and obviously that's pissed him off, and he gets revenge on other people, but whatever. But here he kind of sees that he has an opportunity to be cured, or at least extend his life, and he takes it. He goes through Mexico, and he goes through this whole thing. It's a whole secretive thing, and you see there's a whole operation going on, and he goes through it all, thinks it's all good, thinks he's he's told the operation went well, blah blah, but then he's kind of iffy, like what is going on here. We all know he's a very smart guy, obviously, to pull off everything he's done in all these movies and everything. He's a smart guy. So he eventually figures out that, yeah, he's been defrauded. He's been tricked. Everything that they told him was going to happen, and he's going to be cured or whatever, didn't happen. And obviously they've messed with the wrong guy, because he is going to get revenge. And you don't want the kind of revenge that he's going to get, because it's not going to be good. So, yeah, he manages to then kind of gather himself, get himself a place, do what he usually does, kidnap all these people that were involved in the scheme, bring them there, and yeah, bad things are going to happen to some of these people. And that's when the fun begins. So, we kind of, go through all that to kind of bring us into the usual Saw stuff, where people are going to be put in traps, and, they're going to have decisions to make. Are they going to live? Are they going to die? And so forth. Call her a fan favorite or not, but Amanda comes back. She helps him, or, well, for those who've seen the sequels, come back. But I guess if you didn't see any of the other sequels, I guess it's the first time you're meeting her. So, again, just one of those confusing nuggets that are in there. Like, they know almost the way that she's there and whatever, they know the audience already knows who she is, and they kind of just go with that. But if you've never seen Saw before, you have no idea, who she is or what the hell is going on here. And, they don't go out of their way to kind of paint that relationship with them together. So that's a little weird. But you still, I guess, in a way, they still give you a little bit of that Amanda stuff. Like, you see that she's very loyal to him, but also almost a rebel there as well. So they kind of keep her in the same way, but it's just, bringing her back is also weird. Everybody's excited about it, but it's also weird. And then, I mean, if you think about it, if you watch the original, then you watch this, then you watch the sequel, then you watch where the old one where she originally appears, it kind of ruins that movie. So, or at least the surprise that you were going to get in that movie. So yeah, just throwing things out there to kind of wrap your head around it, or maybe you thought about it or whatever. But yeah, if you really kind of sat down and watched all these movies, including this one, kind of in the right order, yeah, it ruined the movie where she appeared. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4, whatever. But yeah, this kind of ruins that. But whatever. Anyway, back to the point here. We end up where we usually end up, where he's torturing people, or one of his, in later parts, one of his, um, fill-ins, whatever you want to call them, end up torturing people for their own good. So we gotta get that. And knowing what these people did, they try to get you to root for them, or give you maybe a reason to root for maybe some of them. But yeah, no, you were part of that. That's just wrong what you did. And myself, as a person who's gone through cancer and is a cancer survivor, and you're trying to fool people into thinking that you've cured them, not cool. So yeah, when he was torturing those people, I was like, yes, I want to see blood and guts, and they are the scum of the earth for what they did. So let's get them, let's torture them. Obviously, things don't go so easy, and kind of what's planned here. And the tables are kind of turned at a certain point. And this is kind of when I'm entering some of that spoiler territory. Is that in some of the other ones, obviously John is being chased by the cops, or whoever it is being chased by somebody, and there's always somebody coming there to possibly put an end to the plans, or to save somebody. But this one is kind of John literally, and Amanda are kind of, the tables are turned on them, and they're basically entrapped themselves. So it is an interesting thing here, and I think Jigsaw John, whichever way you want to go with it, he's definitely an interesting character, because even though he sets up these traps, and through in the franchise in general and so forth, um, and he's in turn ending up killing a lot of people, is he the most hated horror villain out there? I mean, in a way, with the way he presents the traps, is there's always a way out. Is it necessarily a great way out? Obviously not. Is it going to leave the person in the same way? Obviously not. If the person does survive, somehow, some way, they're also they're gonna pay for their sins, regardless, whether it's with their life or with whatever he has designed. Um, but so it's interesting, it's like him as a character. What side do you kind of see him on? Do you see him as a good guy? Do you see him as a bad guy? Do you see him as the typical horror villain? I mean, he's with him killing people. Obviously, you almost, to me, you're sympathizing with him here. He was just trying to get cured, and is instead taken advantage of. And you'll see that, he's not the first person that these people did it to. So, is it okay what he does? No. In reality, no. In movie form, yes. But, the table's kind of flipped. Now you're on his side. And then they double down on that by saying, then putting him in danger, and putting him in a trap. And, kind of what I thought, is very interesting is that, yeah, and I don't remember him being in a trap. I know obviously we've seen Amanda in a trap. I think we saw the other guy, I forget his name. I think he was even involved in a trap, or he was definitely super involved with what was going on. So, it is the first time you kind of see him in that way. I mean, well, okay, well, in the first one he's there, but I mean, he didn't really do nothing. I mean, he wasn't really in danger. I mean, really. This one, he's more in danger, or at least you think he is, which is a whole fascinating thing. And in typical Saw fashion, you get to that certain moment where they hit rewind and show you a whole bunch of stuff, and like it was the whole plan from this point on, and so if you're into that, you like that of Saw, there's a lot of stuff they stuck true to, and that, and doing that, and that excitement of that, of kind of rewinding and showing you, okay, at this point, it was a whole trick, and screw them, and this is that happened. So that was fun, and it was fun seeing that. And you're just kind of waiting for it, though. It's been a long time since they did this movie. You're wondering, are they still going to go this route? Are they still going to do it? And, when is it going to come? And then you see him and he's kind of in trouble. And you're like, is he really in trouble? What is, it's kind of that moment, you're waiting for them to kind of hit that rewind and see what they do. And it kind of sets up for the exciting end. And obviously the people that you really hate in this movie, or at least I really hate in this movie, are going to eventually get it. And exciting stuff there. So, so, I just find it really fascinating how, he's supposed to be the bad guy, but, how bad is he? Maybe, with certain people, there are probably certain victims along the line that you sympathize more with. Or maybe not. I think that's one of the interesting things about the whole setup of Saw is people are given a chance, and they're probably people who you think deserve it more than others. It's almost kind of like when you watched Dexter and the certain people that he tried to kill. Like Dexter's the bad guy, but is he really bad? Like, some of the people he killed, they deserve to be killed. Some of them were serial killers. Some of them did some really bad stuff. So while you're supposed to hate Dexter because he's killing people, do you really hate him when he's eliminating someone who's really bad and deserves to die? So it's not so simple where, you have a Freddy and, he's killing all these teens and, some of them are very innocent. And or even a Jason, and they're just killing people, and you're supposed to hate them. As a horror fan, you're like, well, yeah, you want to see them die. It's a slasher movie, die, and everybody involved fun. But at the end of the day, they're the true villain, and you're truly supposed to hate them. And then what they're doing is not right, not good, and they're not picking this person and that person for any reason. They're just like, let's just kill these people. Whereas like Dexter and with Jigsaw here, there's a little bit more reason. It's not so black and white. It's not so clear. So, I find that kind of angle very interesting. And almost the reason why, I kind of wanted to just kind of enter spoiler territory and enter this whole part where, we get to see Jigsaw kind of in trouble, or John in trouble. Is something that we don't. And it's kind of like at that point, like, do you, wish that he's really going to get it there? Obviously, we've seen other movies. Again, here we go. You've seen other movies. You know that this is not the moment he's going to die. You know that when he's kind of in this trap, he's okay because other movies happen and other stuff has happened. So, I've opened many doors to having this conversation in this review. But again, if you've seen every Saw, it's like, what are you really doing to the audience here? You're putting him in a situation where, you can say, hey, this is the true sequel, ignore everything else. But no, you can't. I've seen the other movies. He's in the other movies. He's not going to die in this movie. He's not going to die in this movie at this point because of who he is, A, and B, because we know there are other movies. So, you're just creating a fun moment. And it was a very bloody moment and good moment and crazy moment and so forth. You almost see a true good side of John. I mean, there is a true good side of John. Even regardless of in the other movies, you see that he has good in him. And basically his situation has turned him to do a lot of these bad things. And but there's just another moment that you see the good in him because of he's, in a trap, but he's in a trap with this little young boy who he wants to live too. The boy becomes part, of the game here, and what ultimately is happening. But, you see that he cares. He's not going to let the boy be sacrificed just to his own good in this moment, even though he's kind of using him as a pawn in a way. But, he's still got some good there. So is never cut and dry. Like he's Jigsaw, he needs to die regardless, and that's it. No, it's another reason why I've always liked this franchise, and with him in particular. Maybe with Amanda, maybe with the other guy, and the other people have kind of filled in for him. Maybe it's not so cut and dry. Maybe it's so much like, no, you're kind of doing his bidding, and that doesn't really count, and so you should maybe be killed. But Jigsaw certainly you have more to root for. So lots to kind of unpack there. At the end of the day, what does all that mean? Where do we all come to? I don't remember what I gave I'm pretty sure I reviewed the latest Saw movie. I don't remember what I gave it. And I don't remember a lot of my thoughts actually on how good or bad I that. I obviously excited to see Tobin Bell back and so forth, but again, at the end of the day, was it needed? Well, we know it's just another money grab. It's just another one of these examples of a movie when I say, I just, as much as I like Saw and so forth, did we need it? Do we need another sequel? I've obviously complained about where they put it and so forth. I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. I don't know if they continue the other one, this one, what is happening. But in itself, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the angle. Obviously, there's a little bit of a connection there. I can see, a little bit of his boat there. If, having, I was lucky, I was cured, but he obviously not. And I could see myself, if I tried something experimental and was defrauded, I would be pissed too. I think anybody would. So, you can kind of, regardless of cancer, whatever else that you would have. So I just think the emotional side of it and where they kind of place him and your feelings for him and then the people he's getting at is an interesting thing. So all that and all this craziness and everything that I've said, I think at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood. Regardless of everything, kind of strip some of that stuff away. Did it have the best traps of the franchise? No, I know there was one where I think it's the first person who's caught in the trap. There was a lot of talk about that. It looks a little similar to some of the other things that have been done, similar to what I believe it was even Amanda got trapped in. No, she did not. No, I'll reverse on that. She did not. But, or maybe it was one she set up on the other ones. I don't know, but it's similar to something else we've seen. But, and I don't think they totally got all the way down the line in the traps that some of the other ones do. It seemed like, we got cut off a little bit, and then, excuse me, the story kind of flipped, and then Jigsaw ended it. So maybe we didn't get it all the way, as much as we wanted, but the ones that were presented were still pretty good. And it was fun seeing, Jigsaw himself and John back. So I don't, again, I wish I remembered what I gave the last one. And how much I enjoyed it or did not. I don't remember. I'm sure I bitched plenty. Anyway. But yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood. Good enough. I liked it. Like I said, it gives you a lot to think about. Sometimes, that factors in it. It's not so cut and dry. So I enjoyed that as well. So certainly, if you're a fan of the franchise, hopefully you've seen it. If not, you will see it. And again, I don't know what the hell they have planned, which direction they're going to go. But, I'm split about, should we have more or not? I don't know. I like the franchise, but again, should we leave it alone? I don't know. 3.5 pools of blood out of 5 makes me think, hey, there should be some more, but, I don't know. It's definitely not, because they stuck it between 1 and 2, it's not an ending anywhere. It's not, giving us a conclusion anywhere along the line. So, we'll see. So anyway, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and video. Certainly plenty of video ones recently, so you can like, subscribe, do all those things that everybody wants you to do. If not, no worries, no problem. It's okay. But please check out the shorts if you're still on the channel. Trying to do some fun things and trying to keep you informed on some other things, courtesy of Promote Horror, so a little bit of both. If you have any thoughts on those shorts, feel free to jump into a comment section on this review or any others and kind of throw it in there. Let me know what your thoughts on that. Obviously, your thoughts on this movie or the franchise, and definitely on Twitter and Facebook information down below. Feel free to reach out to me there about Saw, about horror, about anything horror related is fine. If you have something you want me to review as well. So with all of that said, and the long review here, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.